2019 Subaru Ascent First Drive Review, a 3-row do-over. MC Minville, or the brand new 2019 Subaru Ascent could very well be called the Mulligan. You may have heard the term used by amateur golfers as a sort of do-over for an egregiously bad first shot. But in the case of the Ascent, Subaru's largest ever vehicle, it means that the Japanese automaker gets one more chance to build a successful 3-row crossover for America. Instead of trying to forget the unloved and slow-selling Tribeca, we get the sense that Subaru wants to keep the massive failure at the top of its collective mind. And we also got the sense that Subaru's engineers and product planners are confident that this time, they've hit a perfect drive off the tee, if not at Pebble Beach, then at least at one of the thousands of reasonably priced golf courses dotting the landscape of suburban America. All the pieces of the crossover puzzle are in place: 7 and 8 passenger seating options, a sizable cargo area, standard all-wheel drive, and class-appropriate fuel mileage estimates. But, this being a Subaru, the manner with which the Ascent hits its targets varies a great deal from many of its competitors. In place of a naturally aspirated V6, as found in the Honda Pilot or Toyota Highlander, is a turbocharged 4-cylinder. And instead of sleek styling meant to attract eyeballs at the expense of usability, the Ascent is boxy, upright, and, well, kinda boring. In person, the Ascent looks like an Outback-shaped balloon that's been blown up a bit too much. An oversized grille is flanked by big headlights at the top of the fascia and faux air intakes molded from matte black plastic at the bottom. It's bland, sure, but it's also not at all surprising that Subaru would err on the side of inoffensive after the design tragedy that was the face of the original B9 Tribeca. And while it definitely shares a strong family resemblance to the Outback, it's sufficiently different enough that buyers aren't likely to confuse the two on the showroom floor. There are some interesting creases and bends in the Ascent's body sides that add visual interest to what would otherwise be big, flat, sheet metal stampings. And we have to commend Subaru for its restrained use of plastic underbody cladding, especially since the original Outback helped popularize that trend in the mid-1990s. There's a reasonable glass-to-metal ratio that helps the interior cabin feel airy and bright. Getting into the Ascent's third row is made easier by a large, squared-off rear door. A horizontal chrome strip visually connects big tail light clusters at the rear of the Ascent. The vertical orientation of the rear glass maximizes cargo space behind the third row. Whereas the sides are happily bereft of cladding, the rear bumper section is covered in the stuff, although the center section of plastic is actually a rather clean-looking cover for the optional trailer hitch. From the driver's seat, the Ascent's packaging continues to display Subaru's pragmatic philosophy to car design. All the gauges are easy to see and read at a glance, knobs and buttons are easy to locate, both those of the software-based touchscreen infotainment system and the physical ones on the steering wheel and center stack. We had a harder time than normal finding a comfortable driving position in the Ascent, but eventually settled with the steering wheel telescoped further away from the dash than normal, and with the seat pulled in tight. We did eventually find a good fit, but we have a feeling that smaller drivers may find the driving position more awkward than larger drivers. Compare the Ascent with two of the best-selling competitors in its class, the Honda Pilot and Toyota Highlander, and Subaru's offering looks perfectly sized on paper. In practice, a 6-foot passenger will have plenty of room in the second row, which is adjustable for legroom and seat back angle. On upper trim levels, buyers can choose between a pair of captain's chairs or a 3-passenger bench. There's no price difference between the two options, so it's really just a matter of need. We tested both setups and walked away thinking they were just about equal in terms of comfort. Third-row passengers are treated better in the Ascent than in some competitors, like the Toyota Highlander, which feels extremely tight. If the middle seat occupants are willing to slide their seats forward a bit, there's adequate legroom for a 6-footer in the way back. Two reasonably sized adults could sit back there for a little while, if necessary, but their heads may be grazing the headliner. It's really more suitable for kids, who will enjoy a bevy of cup holders, tablet holders, and USB chargers to make the miles pass more quickly. There are 19 cup holders in all, which seems ridiculous until you consider that they'll end up acting as cubbies for the storage of a lot more than just cups.